Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 143 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Will and Ziggy from Monster Press in England. Let's go!
This cute lumberjack.
What's up, dude?
Hey.
Check.
Can you hear me? You look so fucking... You're a lumberjack. So, cut my tree down any day.
I wish my back felt better. Like, I wish... I want to take a vacation from it.
Do you want me to just come over there and horse kick you in the spine and see if it fixes it?
I wish my back... I don't know what to even do. I just wish it felt better. And...
We agreed not to talk about this ever again.
Can we just take a vacation from our problems? Can we do that?
I feel like that's a different discussion.
I think you should be like, shouldn't it be, I think it would be fair if we got to like every, I don't know, once a week, 1 hour vacation from it all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what you do in the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
That's an extended poop is what that is.
It's taken me all these years and I haven't figured that out. I don't know.
You look good though.
There? Oh, whoa.
Watch out.
How's life up
good there? Today it's the starting of a snowstorm right now. Kids had no school today.
I saw that. Like when you looked at the map, like the radar, the whole north of America is getting fucked.
It's like green and pink.
And then like there's this line, and then where we are, it's like 68. And
sunny and beautiful.
It's not sunny, but it's not snowy.
It's okay. Yeah. That's cool. We're not supposed to get like a ton of snow. It's just, I don't know, whatever.
Like it won't shut you down or anything. You'll be okay.
It will be fine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if it snows, I would say 4 inches or more here, then UPS, we get notifications from FedEx and all that stuff. They're like, hey, sorry.
So 4 inches is a lot in St. Louis? Is that why you moved there?
Yeah, 4 to 6, I would say, would pretty much cancel almost everything. I know it's weird, but it's just, most cities aren't prepared for that kind of stuff. They only have so many trucks, plows, and all that shit. So
yeah, plowing.
Anyway. Yeah. So what's the cricket level up there? Are they noisy or are they silent? Let me guess. Hold on. Don't say anything because I saw your eyebrows and your eyebrows went up, which means how's the cricket level? Up, eyebrows. That means not that many, I think.
Bippage?
I think that it's bip free.
It's getting better. It's not great. It's getting better.
Okay. Like, are you stressed about it? Or
I haven't been stressed about it at all. Like this whole time.
That's the surface level. I'm Dylan.
It's my woosah.
But deep down, how is it? Like, be real here. And you can do it.
Being real. It's not stressful for me as an owner in the sense of like, oh my God, I don't have funds coming in, whatever. It's stressful for my employees when they're like, hey, I don't have anything to do. That's the stress. So like the company's not in trouble. Like I think a lot of people are in that slow as fuck stage right now. Yeah. So it's okay. And I'm cool with it because we're like finding shit to do or we're closing shop early and playing video games, which is fine with me.
By the way, were you PS5 or Xbox? I can't remember.
Xbox all the way.
No, you're not. Are you really?
Yeah, fuck PlayStation.
Why?
Because they're pussies.
I was going to buy a system so I could be like you. And I was for sure like, I'm PS5 all the way. I got to do that because I thought I wanted to play Last of Us.
Oh.
And it would be fun. And now all of a sudden you've like shit on my dream.
I mean, you can get it. You can afford both. You're a fucking bougie baller.
Yeah. Well, I have to sell something maybe to get both. I would probably, we have a Wii.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool, right? That we got 15 years, I don't know, a long time ago when my kid was a kid.
You were playing like Wii tennis and stuff.
Oh,
Wii
yeah.
bowling. Yeah.
That shit's sweet. I still would love to play that.
Never got into Wii.
Well,
Yeah.
what were you saying? I mean, look, it's just you and me. Real talk.
Yeah.
You're not
No one
stressed.
else is listening.
No. You're
No,
good.
I'm not. I'm the good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm honestly
All right.
good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All's well.
Good. Happy to hear.
Been just working on stuff, like working on getting stuff in the shop done. Like we did a ton of end of last week and early this week, even today. Like we're doing a bunch of tests with like new mesh. We're trying like different techniques with thinning things down and doing more water-based and discharge things, just doing a bunch of tests to be prepared for this year and make things better. Like we printed off stuff that we did 4 years ago, and then we're printing it off of techniques we do now and like side by siding them. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like there's a lot of things that have changed and improved, and like it's really awesome to see like concrete stuff in front of you of like, this is way fucking better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah. So stuff like that's been good. Me and my dad are revamping the showroom. So we're going to start building that out here next week, hopefully. I've been doing a lot of cooking
Cooking for the shop or just to yourself?
myself.
Okay. Like what are you making?
What am I making? I don't know. There's just like certain things like I've been wanting. Like, I don't know. I made like really good French toast the other day.
I saw
I made
that.
like chicken parm from scratch. I made, what else did I make? I don't know. I made a couple things. The thing is that got me, I've always liked to cook, but like my grandfather died last year and he owned a restaurant and like cooked for forever. Like my memories of hanging out with him were going over to his house and we would make like a meal, like a full from start to finish like meal. And we would always make like homemade potato chips. Like that was our thing, is we would go
How'd you
over,
do
watch
that?
a movie and make homemade potato chips, just like slicing potatoes like super thin and frying them in oil and all that stuff. And my grandpa's girlfriend would hate it because the whole house would reek of like burnt oil from like making chips. Anyway, like when he died, like the one thing I asked my mom for from him was his, he had these sweet old jackets they would wear because he was a truck driver for a long time, and which will never fit me. They're just fucking sweet looking, and all his cookbooks. So like I have a stack of like his like handwritten cookbooks at my house now. So like something I want to do, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but like I kind of want to make like a TikTok or an Instagram where I just go through and like cook his recipes. So like,
Oh yeah.
I think
Like
it'll be
that.
fun. Yeah.
Grandpa's recipes.
Grandpa's recipes. Grandpa Louie.
Yeah, so on Monday we made tacos. And it's a 2-nighter thing because we make enough for leftovers, And
You
that's always fun.
you just a white people taco night, like ground beef, a little bit of like El Paso, and like put it in a corn tortilla.
New York City. No, we made ground chicken.
Nice.
I used chicken instead, but no, it's a little bit better than that.
Right.
We're describing, but
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I don't know. Jojo loves it too.
Okay. That's cool. As long as you like it, that's all that matters.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I didn't, poke fun at your cooking.
I'm not poking fun. I'm asking. I made fucking basic ass chicken parm. So
That's my favorite thing to do is make basic ass stuff. Honestly, like sometimes when you get all fancy with it, it's just not as good, and you go through all this trouble. If you just fucking make basic shit, it's the best.
yeah, and it's funny. We talked on the show a little while ago about how I've been eating ramen wrong my entire life.
You mean like you should be eating it with cheese?
No, how I should leave water in it.
Oh, that's right.
Because I would drain it and just put the packet on the noodles
You hate
like
soup,
dry.
though. You don't like soup,
Right, but that's the funny thing is I went to the grocery store the other day to get groceries, and I was like, I kind of want to get like chicken flavored ramen and like actually make it the way it's supposed to be made.
And did you?
I didn't.
Yeah, we
But I
buy
thought
it.
about it.
We buy 6-packs of that. You know,
Right.
they come in like
That's what I saw. Yeah.
6-pack. I think it'll set you back, $1.
Yeah. It was like
Maybe.
$1.50.
I haven't tried the 2 slices of American processed cheese yet, but
That sounds gross as fuck.
it's like mac and cheese ramen. I don't know. It sounds
That
actually
sounds disgusting. Yeah.
I'm sure it's good.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think we should
Frank.
I feel good.
Yeah, it did. And I emailed Frank for some of these test screens and he fucking hooked me up. So love you, bud.
He's the man.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with a screen, and whether it is new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF,
Rank.com.
or
greatfuckingscreens.com. Hell yeah.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
So they are building a car wash next door to our shop. Like I look over right there, and there's
Is that where the bank was?
Yeah, they knocked it down.
Right.
Like that bank's gone.
But they're building a car wash now instead.
Yeah, and so every morning, like they start at 7 and we start at 8. There's some people here at 7:30, but most people get here at like 7:45, 7:50. They start at 7, and guess what? They park in our parking lot.
What fucking assholes.
Yeah. So I went over. Well,
Slashed the tires.
First, I
poured sugar in their gasoline.
No.
Put a potato in their tailpipe.
No.
Why not? Did you put some spiders under their door handles?
No, I went into the designer room and asked Rachel to go over there and tell them to get the fuck out of here.
Oh. You didn't like crack an egg on their paint job?
No.
Why? I'm giving you all these things you could do.
Dylan, that is vandalism, and that's no
Fuck
way.
them. They're in your parking lot. I thought you said your fucking mama didn't raise no bitch.
Yeah, but mama also didn't raise no like gangster.
Okay.
We have to, that's probably part of the problem with the world. We need to just work it out. We need to walk over and just say, hey,
no,
guys.
you need to fucking show them who's boss and tell them not to fucking park here anymore.
I think you go over there and you're like, hey, guys.
You know what you do? It's the best thing
you
you
won't
do.
let me say. Just let me say.
Because I'm trying to give you the best option.
Fuck.
You go.
Yeah, okay, what?
You go,
what?
You
What
go
do
to
I
the
do?
store and you get a valve stem remover and you take the valve stems out of their tires because then they can't blow them back up.
That's so much fucking effort. I think it's better to just go over there and say, hey, guys, you're doing a really good job. It's a really pretty building, but
Don't fucking park here anymore.
that'd be the perfect way to end that sentence, right?
Yeah.
Start off. That's like a Sour Patch, but
You could
in
bring them
reverse.
donuts, bring them cookies.
That's like, yeah, perfect. So it's like a Sour Patch Kid in reverse. Go in there sweet and end with fucking boom, like mic drop sourness.
Diabetes.
Yeah. If you or your art department could use some love, then you need to go to 1-900-HOTStuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas.
Nick Lucas.
I love how whenever I read that, almost every time, you look down at your phone and then I go like this to wait, and then you look up because you are listening. So you can do, you're multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
Right.
Or just actually, you're just two-tasking. I don't think you could do 3.
No, definitely not.
You're just a two-tasker.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you? That reminds me. Did I ever tell you about when I took my mom to eat chicken wings?
I'm sure. Yes, you did.
We're in the restaurant ordering chicken wings, and the fucking waitress is sitting there, and my mom doesn't think anything of it, and she's like, which ones do you like? Do you like the 1 boner or the 2 boner? I was like, whoa, mom.
The real question is,
she meant flats or drumsticks, but she called it a 1 boner or a 2 boner.
The real question is
I was like, Mom, you probably like a 2 boner.
The real question is were you using Sourcey sauce?
Sourcey sauce? Yeah.
Yeah, like on the wings. Like when you went and
Graphic Source's signature sauce.
Yeah, when you went there, Mom was like, hey, 1 boner, 2 boner, and then you said, and then she's like, by the way, I'm out of here unless it's fucking Sourcey sauce.
Right.
Graphic Sourcey sauce.
Right.
Where were we?
I don't fucking know. This is a train wreck.
Go to
Sorry, RIP.
graphicsource.com. Check them out. That's GraphX source.
Right.
Choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch all of Kev's vids or contact him on Instagram at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you
need.
That was beautifully done right there.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
We got flow.
Talking about Kevin in the Discord
Chat.
this morning.
Oh, Discord?
Yeah.
Oh, you sure it wasn't
Yeah.
chat? Okay.
It was both, actually, wasn't it?
Maybe. I didn't. I have
Totally
not seen
separate
Discord.
conversations about Kevin.
You know what I love? I love this. I love that you called me a couple nights ago and asked me a question, and I gave you the right answer. So question, answer, and then you texted, or no, then you went in Discord and asked that same question.
Yeah. It's called it's called second opinion.
I had given you the answer.
Yeah, and did you see that in Discord I got like 35 different answers?
Hey, so it'd be sort of like, hey, so what's 1 + 1? And I say 2, and then you go in Discord and you say, hey guys, I don't like what's 1 + 1 because I talked to this bozo yesterday.
Basically.
Yeah, basically. I appreciate that. It made me feel.
You did say you should ask Tony.
Well, that's because you should always ask Tony. Let's just be real.
So I was asking fucking the man behind the curtain in Discord.
No, you weren't. No, you could have just texted fucking Tony. You just said, hey, Tiny Fish, what's the fucking answer to this? Andy's an idiot. Instead, you went to Discord when I already given you.
Hey,
like,
isn't that what
answer.
our Discord is for? Is to ask questions and get answers?
Then don't call me. Don't fucking call me. Don't call me then.
Okay, sorry, Dad. I won't ever do it again.
Check this out. Dylan and I have talked a lot about how we moved to a DTF screen print transfer. I looked over at you right then and I never should have because you were like,
say this again. Talk to me about these transfers.
So check this out. Dylan and I have talked a lot about how we've moved to a DTF screen print transfer solution for our high color count, low quantity orders. And we've been using Howard Custom Transfer a bunch and fell in love, not just with like the product, but with the people.
Way more than the people. I mean, the product's really awesome too, but they're really great people.
They are. It's seriously, they complete us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we loved about them and like the product is the variety, because you talked about it last episode, I think, of how they had they had a puff, they had glitter, they've got it all. And if you want to see for yourself, you just need to go to howardct.com and order a free sample pack.
Yeah.
There it is. You just go to the website, it's down there at the bottom. Free sample pack.
The sample pack's awesome too, because I don't know if you saw it, but it's got like all the samples in it, but there's like a sheet that has like the photo of the sample.
Yes.
Like all the press settings, everything. And it's like super detailed. Like it's the most detailed sample pack I've ever gotten for any kind of transfer or anything like that.
Yeah, same. And it shows which each one is. And so you can say, oh, this. So you get the sample and has a picture of it. And then it actually has a title of what you call it, so you know how to order it, in other words. And so, yeah, check them out.
Check them.
Check.
Hey, who do we have on the show today, bud?
Dylan, today we are going across the pond to chat with Ziggy Hill and Will Peterson from Monster Press in the UK.
It's like what, like 1 a.m. there?
I think it's just like 7 at
Okay.
night, 8. But it sounds cooler.
Maybe I should ask the Discord.
Yeah, I don't have the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's for sure. Apparently.
They're a shop that like I've known about for forever. Like we were on MCs together and we've kind of talked here and there, and I just really like their shop. Like I really love what they're doing. And we got a chance to meet them in LA at our meetup.
We did.
And we were like, you guys got to be on the show. And they were like, Yeah, sure.
They said it in an English accent, though.
Right. Yeah, it was way cooler. So much sexier. What's going on,
Just
man?
waiting for Ziggy.
Is he still napping?
He's panic getting ready, I think.
Don't want to get into it without him.
He was going to just sleep at work. Like, just used to work, and he does that sometimes.
Why does he need? Does he need so much sleep that he has to nap every day, or what?
Well, we both noticed yesterday at like 8:00 we were like fully brain dead. So we were like, oh, it'd probably be nice to like have like half an hour or something nap before, so that we can actually string a sentence together. Right. So I think that was the plan, but I called him and he was asleep. And when you called me, I was asleep. So,
perfect.
Yeah. I was asleep till
you guys are like that kindergarten class where you pull out the blue mats and take like a quick nap before you have to get anything done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically Zig at work sometimes. He'll just be like, if he hasn't got a lift home or something, he'll just be like, oh, I'll just sleep here.
How does I guess we get it. How does the dynamic work for you two at work? Like, what are your roles?
So it's very clearly defined, I would say. So Ziggy is everything production and I'm everything else.
Okay.
So when it comes to just physically running jobs day to day.
Mm-hmm. So are you guys like straight up partners then?
Yeah. 50-50, completely even split.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's worked out well for you guys? I mean, have you had like issues or butted heads or?
No, I think we had one argument where we like actually shouted at each other. I was saying this the other day once, and that was, I can't even remember what it was about, and it was probably like 10 years ago. Like, nice. Yeah, we'd never.
Did you call him a wanker?
I might have called him a wanker, yeah.
Nice.
No, I don't know. Yeah, we're both kind of like.
I'm late.
We're both kind of like pretty like easygoing with each other, to be honest. I mean, we're not really very uptight or like argumentative people. So,
yeah, I think that's the thing. Like you said, very defined roles. Is where it works. Like I've told the story on here before, but the place that I used to work at before I started my company, that was their thing. It was very defined roles. Like one was production.
Wait.
Hey there, he made it.
Can you hear me now?
Oh shit! Yep.
Yeah,
the Lord is here now.
Can you hear me?
I fucking hate being late. Hi.
You're not late. Time is a construct made up by man. You're here when you're here.
Yeah, got it. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm grand. I was definitely asleep.
It's all good. We're all just hanging out.
Cool.
We were just talking about how much we hate each other and we don't get on.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's pretty much like that.
I think though, having those clearly defined roles makes it all work. Like most shops that we talk to that have partners or maybe even, husband, wife type things, that sort of team, usually you do completely different things and then it works. And sometimes it's tough because I remember like we were talking to Denial and they have two different roles. And, like sometimes one doesn't understand the other. Like if you're in production, you're like, hey, why are we printing these shirts? This isn't what we do, but you're the other half of it. And you're like, oh, well, we have to print these. I know we don't normally do that, but we have to make an exception to this to make this customer happy or whatever. So you guys have to understand each other, that sometimes you got to break the rules and things like that. And if you do, you have that relationship, then it's great.
Also the other way around, like, understanding like limitations of like what we will and won't print on and what like inks are suitable for what garments and things like that. There's like, I communicate with Ziggy and Jay and the printers and the team a lot about, what issues are and what's, if there's a problem and stuff like that. So it's definitely, works both ways. And Ziggy, I think, pretty much understands that, sometimes, you might make an exception for like a frequent, like a, common customer or a repeat customer or something.
I think it just needs to be like, if you need something done or you have something that you need to push through, he needs to understand that that's your domain, and like you he needs to trust you that this is the right thing to do, and you need to trust him that it's the right thing to do in production. You know what I mean? I feel like my problem is that I was dedicated to the business and I was dedicated to things, and the partner that I had just wasn't in the right space. Like he was trying to make random business decisions, and he was like the worst printer and all these other things. And it was like, it was all over the place. And I was the one like heading up all of the business decisions, all of the things. And then he would just show up randomly and like do what he was going to do. So that's where I was like, bad taste in my mouth. Like, I'm never doing a partnership and blah, blah, blah. So it's cool to see that it works for you guys.
Yeah. I was printing with Ziggy for like up until basically we got an auto. So we were both printers, and I think I was mainly doing admin until we hired another guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started out as a printer as well. So I kind of understand a lot of like the pains and like limitations and things like that from that. So yeah, it's kind of good. Like we have experience in that.
Ziggy, you didn't want to have anything to do with the office. You just wanted to stay production.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I won't pretend to know that I know how to run a business or anything. That's Will's world. And he's good at making sure that we make money. I need to be like doing hands-on shit. Like, yeah, pretty much all the time. I could probably go in the office. I'm not a huge people person either. So like me in sales and I don't know. It's a battle.
I feel like that's the same here. Like anytime you bring something up, like you were saying that out in the shop, they'll be like, why are we doing this? Why are we have to rush this? Why or whatever? And it's like, they're always like, why don't you just go in there and tell them to go fuck themselves? And it's like, it's probably a good reason that you're not the one conveying this to the customer. Like, you just stay out there in the hot dungeon and like print shirts.
Well, I think
I love the dungeon.
I think that we all have our strengths and weaknesses, though. Like some, and also the things that we like to do and don't like to do. And sometimes those don't align, which sucks because you're ended up like I do stuff that I don't want to do sometimes, which I wish I could delegate more of, but sometimes I'm like, I'm just stuck doing it. I don't know. I think that's the balance that you guys have to find. And even if you don't have a partnership, even if I'm the leader, I'm the founder leader of this company, it's my job anyway to find the right people and put them in place that are strong in those roles. You know what I mean? And so that's not always easy and also you may put somebody in a role and then they get tired of it and they don't want to do that role anymore. And so, you have to, I think it's the toughest spot. I don't know if, so Ziggy, do you manage the back production? So there's people that you manage?
Pretty much. I think I'm like production manager. I'm still like, I'm not like on press every day, but I'd like to oversee everything and see what's going on. I think that's what's good. But I think I half joined in with your conversation, but the idea that the disconnect between like sales and production, we just don't have, because if I see an issue, I'll just go straight to Will and I'm like, this isn't working. This is not making us money. Don't send us these kinds of jobs, this. And like, I think it's good because there's a good balance, and it kind of just fell into being that way.
That's kind of a good topic that I don't think we've really touched on much on this show, is like, what are you guys noticing, if you can think of any, I guess, that are like some jobs that you're just like, this is not for us? Like,
I would say just certain garment types. Actually, the other day, yesterday, I don't know if you guys have used AS Color Heavy. The shit. Like, yeah, AS Color are like amazing shirts, and we recommend them for everything else, but they're heavy shirts. We had to do a CMYK job on, and it was just like, I set it all up, make it look all good, test shirts, and then I go to print it on those, and it's like, why bother?
What was the issue with them?
They're super, like, the weave in them is
deep.
I always, in my head, it's always
like, it's like printing a rib tank top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a crinkle cut kind of chip. That's how I see it in my brain. And all
So
the
it's
ink
the-
just sitting on the ridges. Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
perfect type of shirt to use for a process job where you need the halftones to land perfectly on
Yeah.
each other.
So
Yeah.
two
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Two things to that. One, there's an American Apparel heavy shirt that you should check out that we just recently tried. And I don't know if it
Okay.
has the same sort of, weave. You were shaking your head like you don't like American Apparel, maybe. But
No, we just don't get them in the UK anymore.
Oh, okay.
They discontinued. They actually went bankrupt in the UK, and they owe me like £700.
Well, I wonder now that like Gildan owns it, if it's
Right.
available for you again.
Yeah, I'd still buy them. I mean, yeah, it's fine. Just none of our suppliers stock them. So
Right.
You should email Gildan and tell them that they owe you £700. I don't know how much £700. How much is that? Is that like $1,000 or something? I don't know.
something like that.
But
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 meat.
It's a shame.
My other question was CMYK.
But to be fair to me about that thing, we'd never printed on them before, I don't think, and I had no idea that they were going to be like terrible for halftone. That's just like one of the things that you just, you have to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
did you just
learn.
send those garments back and get something different to print them on?
We ran the job. I sent it out. It's like that's the best it's going to look, and it's me being picky as well because
100%.
that bad.
Yeah.
I just wanted it to look good.
It's funny.
It looked really good. It was just, it would have looked better on like a smoother shirt.
Right.
It still
right.
looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Me and Andy were talking in the pregame about in this episode that like we've been kind of slow because it's that season or whatever, and we've been doing a lot of tests with different things and trying out like thin thread 305s and 230s and trying to get the best possible detail and halftones with what we're doing. And we're noticing like the difference between the 305 and 230. And, we're trying these things where 8 years ago or whatever, we did this print. It was for a Xbox video game or whatever. And we were like, you know what, we should try to do things like, obviously our art department is like learn new things and new tricks and all this other stuff. And we're like, we should just try to recreate that print again because we have a physical sample of the one we did like 6 years ago. And we're like, let's try to do it now the way that we would do it on a 230, like the way that we would print it. And then let's try it on a 305 as well with some new stuff that we were trying out. And it was funny, like we're looking at all three of these prints and we're like, the customer would like all of these. Like they wouldn't give a you know what I mean? Like they'd be like, this looks cool, this looks cool, and this looks cool. But to us, it was like different, like big differences. You know what I mean? We were like, holy shit, like this one kind of looks like more. The old one kind of looked more cartoony because the halftones weren't as detailed and they didn't like fade out as smoothly and perfectly, and they weren't as small. So you would see like not definitive cuts, but to us it was more like this is when this chunk of halftone ends and this is when this begins. So then when we got the next one, we're like, oh man, this one fades really well and it looks amazing and whatever. And then we look at the other one and we're like, holy shit, like look at this, like we're literally looking through the loop and we're like, oh, this looks really good here. It's like the customer wouldn't give two fucks. Like they would have been cool with the one from 6 years ago. But I told them, I was like, well, we're the ones that set the bar. Like, I don't let the customer be like, oh, they're okay with it. Then that's just what we do from here on out. It's like, I want it to be like, we can just keep going. Like, let's just keep looking at these tiny details and be like, that's what we do now. That's the standard, not okay.
Yeah, we pretty much have a kind of, I guess, unwritten rule that if it's, passes our quality standards, then it will definitely pass the customer's quality standards because we are just super picky. But then you've got to also learn like when to say when with stuff if it's in production. Like it's like, oh, exactly. I could remix this color and add like a tiny little bit more blue to this gray or something. And then it's like, do you really want to spend 15-20 minutes like adjusting this color, putting it back on press? It's going to make basically no difference.
Right. And I'll admit this. I mean, we're all printers and we would say it to each other, but it's not like something you want to broadcast to the world. But it's kind of like we all do that. We all are just like, no, that's totally fine. Like the customer's not going to give a fuck, whatever. And the salespeople sometimes too will nitpick over stuff. Like they'll send the production guys out like 3 times to change ink colors. They're like, I don't really like this teal or this brown or whatever. And the funny thing is they get frustrated where the printers are like, I'm going to take it to Dylan just to like, he's the boss. Like he's going to say whatever. They bring it into me, hold it up. And I'm like, looks good, run it. Like, and then you can hear the people in the office like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like he said it was okay. And like, we're over here. Like
you're in a tough spot though, because I do the same thing and I'll go to the end of a dryer. They'll come get me and say, hey, come to the end of the dryer and look at this final. And I'll go up to it. And let's say, I think it could be better and everybody kind of knows it. I want to set the good example for when I'm not there. And I don't want to say, oh yeah, run it. It's fucking good enough. Because if I do that,
I'm not saying it's good enough. I'm just saying, I know that like a lot of times I feel like they're looking too hard into the computer and they're looking at the thing. And I'm like, you guys need to step back in your head a little bit and be like, this is a picture of a guy mowing a lawn. Like it's supposed to look like fucking green grass. Does it look like grass or not? And it's like, okay, the green looks good. It's not like fucking like neon green. It's like grass green. And
you know what
like,
would be fun?
Fucking print the job.
Like a fun game is to be like, what's wrong with this print? So like you're presented a shirt and then you have to like go down
we have done that sometimes.
Because sometimes it's hard to find, you know, like they'll bring it to me and I'll be like, I don't know, like it looks pretty good. And then they tell me, oh, well, we didn't use an underbase or whatever. You know, that'd be pretty fun to try and guess.
We basically never get complaints about ink color. It's just something that never happens. Like maybe once every 2 years or something, if there's been something that's just gone wrong. And obviously we'll reprint it.
I feel like the only time we ever get somebody complaining about an ink color is when it was their fault and they didn't tell us that they needed it to be a specific thing.
Yeah, that happens also. Yeah.
And I mentioned that where it's like they have their truck wrapped and they have their, you know, trailer wrapped or whatever, and it's all their logos and it's all a specific color. But then when they give you the art, they never give you any specifications or like, hey, I've printed this a bunch of other times. It's everywhere with this color. And then we just pick what we think it is. And then they get the shirts and they're like, oh, the red on this doesn't match my truck. And it's like, what truck? You never told us that it needed to match the truck.
Yeah. Or someone goes, oh, it doesn't match the last batch of shirts I got printed somewhere else. Well, did you think about like maybe send us one and then we can just match it to that? Or yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you look at if you're matching off a monitor, I mean, you turn the brightness down one click or up one click, or you look at it at a slightly different angle. It might look a bit bluer or pinker or, you know, like a red or something. And it's just, there's Sony. So we'll get it. So it's like so close. But it's just like, I think matching from a monitor is, if someone gives you a Pantone color, then it's, you know, easier. But a monitor is just, yeah.
And even then, like, I think we were talking to the guy from Pantone, or the guy who used to work at Pantone. He's like, even those aren't even like a super accurate. He's like, you can have a Pantone book and your buddy can have a Pantone book and you could look at the colors next to each other and they don't match. It's just like, what the fuck does even matter then? Like,
we've done that. We did that. We bought two last week and we compared like the same pages and we were like, okay, they're different. Yeah. So
so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Can we try something? I don't know. I had a couple of episodes ago, somebody asked about, you know, just basically like shop DNA, like to put things in context, like how big of a shop do you have square footage wise, how many employees, how many autos, these kind of things. And in the past, we've always sort of just haven't really talked about that sort of thing because we didn't want it to be like a measure of success or something like that, you know.
We said dick measuring.
Yeah.
Which I guess could be a measure.
Oh, we don't care about that stuff, but yeah.
I think that it's kind of cool. Like I remember when there wasn't the internet and I would get like a screen printer magazine and every month they would have a shop tour and they'd talk about a shop and they would have like the basic details that said, hey, you know, here's this shop and kind of here's what they do. And it sort of put things in context. And I thought that if you didn't mind sharing, we can talk about it just so, you know, people can kind of understand where you
can go into that.
I think we're probably still like a small to mid-size shop. We have 2 autos. What are we, 5,000 square foot?
Yeah, right around there. Yeah,
6, 4, 5-ish.
I think 5. Yeah.
Okay. we do a bit of DTG, but we're still trying to like get to terms with finding the right clients and a steady flow and stuff like that. And what is there, 11 of us, including us?
There's 12 of us, yeah, including us.
12 of us. Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
me
it.
and you guys are pretty similar, other than that I just replaced my manual with an auto, so now I'm at 3.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
So the same number of staff.
I'm around like 10 to 12 depending on the season or whatever. And it's probably around the same. I honestly don't, like, I get to ask this all the time, like, what's my square footage? I honestly don't know. Like, I've never been like, let me measure the floor space. Like, I just don't care. Like, my equipment fits, it works. I'm not measuring to be like, oh, I have to have 7,500 square feet exactly.
Well, nobody's saying that you did, because a lot of us, like for me anyway, I know exactly how large our shop is because I lease, and that's in the lease. And you're saying, there's per square foot, and so it's easy. It's just like right up front. But if I suppose that if I just bought this building, maybe I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? If I added on and this and that, it wouldn't really matter. And you're right. It doesn't. As long as it's working for you, it's not that important, I suppose. But just in the context of things, it's nice for people to know. I just had to fill out when we did this hot market print, for this other company. They sent us this really elaborate Excel spreadsheet, shop DNA. And so you have to go through every single detail. Like, how many docks do you have? How high are they? Like at one point during that night when we were printing overnight, a van pulled up to pick up a pallet. I'm like, well, how's this going to work? Like it's not a dock high. And so like, it's really important, I think, and interesting anyway, to see, what your building has, because maybe, it would resonate, or they could relate to you and say, oh, well, shit, I don't have a dock and I wish I did. And what's your solution for a dock? Oh, you just got a forklift and so like, I think it helps.
Well, I think it's like you said, the person who mentioned that we should ask is it puts into perspective of like, oh, I've really always looked up to this shop and blah, blah, blah. And then you guys say, oh, I have 10 employees and this square footage. And then they are like, oh shit, that's like what I have. So like, we're kind of in the same boat. You know what I mean? So I get it. It's just one of those things to me where it's like, sometimes when you walk into a show and people are like, how many employees, what's the square footage? It's kind of like, it's that flashy of like, I have a Rolex and you don't. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like I print shit in my shop too. Like, it's like,
well, you can have go ahead.
I think we're pretty happy with the size of our shop. Like, we don't want to grow. Don't know. Would we get a third auto? Bill's shaking his head. No, we don't want to grow. So
unless we took on a contract job where they actually paid, then no. That's what I'd say.
My thought with getting the other auto was just because it was a foot bigger than the Sidewinder. So it was like, why not get rid of this manual that never gets used? And I needed to spend money anyway, so the government didn't take it. So I was like, fuck it, I'll buy another auto and a dryer. And it's not like it gets used every day, because it doesn't at all. But it's that press where like if someone came in and was like, I need 2,000 one-color shirts or 2-color shirts, or that press can just do sleeves and pockets for all I care. Like the sleeve pallets are set up and you're just like, all right, let's just run it on this press. It's like, why not at that point? So that was my thinking with the third auto, was just overflow or just weird shit that we could just throw on it and get it done, because nobody wants to manually print. So let's be honest, like, just throw it on that little auto and be done with it.
Yeah, as soon as
we were considering,
go
on. We were considering getting like a third just for doing like neck prints, and we still might. We're trying to find like the smallest, best neck print machine. I don't like the rapid tags. They kind of look shit. I don't know if you guys have one. Do you use one?
I just sold mine.
They're made to a budget, aren't they? And they're made for a price point. And
I gotta say that I'm torn, because I had a rapid tag for a really long time. It worked really well for certain orders where, like, if someone was like, I want 1,000 or more pieces with tags, it was nice to just, because it did what it was supposed to do. It's a small squeegee, set the pressure, you set it, you put the ink in, you're just cranking out tags. But it's one of those things, you're screen printing tags. So realistically, you can only get so much detail. You can only really do 1 or 2 passes depending on the blank before the ink wants to come through the back of the shirt, like all these things. So we were always fighting it because you had to have like multiple screens burned and you had to switch them out for sizes and you had to do all this other stuff. And then it just got to the point where some jobs we were doing as transfers, some jobs we were doing as screen printed neck tags. And I was just like, fuck it. We bought those, basically the pneumatic dual heat presses, and I can't keep up with it. Like I literally, like if you're loading both sides and you're sliding it back and forth, like it's hard to be like fully keeping up with it. So I was like, if that's the case, I'm just going to buy 2 of those. And then if we have a big tag order, I'll just put 2 people on the heat presses and have them do it that way, because I can do any color, a full color tag that I want to do. I can get as much detail as I want to get out of it, and it looks better. Like I never have to worry about it bleeding through. I don't ever have to worry about any issues. So I just got rid of the rapid tag altogether, and from now on, I'm just ordering. There's no screens, no nothing. I'm just ordering either a screen printed transfer or a digital transfer for the neck tags.
Yeah, that's the other avenue that we're considering as well. Yeah, I think transfers are great, to be honest. Unpopular opinion. But I feel like they have a place. I'm not saying it's better than screen printing. I'm just saying it's like our argument that we were just having of like, does the customer actually give a shit? You know what I mean? Not that we want to put out a subpar thing, but it's a neck tag. Like they're not walking around showing off a neck tag. Like it's going to work. It's going to be in there. Like to me, I'm like, well, if we can make it, and it looks better in my opinion, like it holds better detail. It's got everything in there. All these big brands for forever that we looked up to, like Nike and all this other stuff, all those tags are fucking transfers. Like, and you can do them on like on the inside of hoodies and sweaters and stuff like that. So
exactly. So I don't know. I feel like it's got a place, but can you guys tell your story of how you got started? Because I feel like it's got to be a good one.
Do you want to go well?
Okay, yeah. I'm a few years older than Zig, and I think I was about 19 or 20, and he was like 17 or something, and it was his idea to start screen printing, and I was just like, wasn't really that like interested to begin with, but because we were both at college. And then, I went on holiday. Well, my attendance at college was terrible. Basically, I was like a bit of a stoner and stuff in college and had a really bad attendance. And then, so like the second year, I took the first couple of weeks off, and because I was in Australia with my friend, and I went back and then got kicked out. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's start a screen printing business. And kind of always been interested in like t-shirts and stuff like that, just like band shirts and skate shirts and things like that. We like bought all our stuff off eBay, off some guy in like near London, and it was like I think it was like £1,000 for like
that was our split, 500 each.
So it was like I think it was a 4-color 2-station.
That's what I started with too.
Like one of those ones that's like proper rickety. And
was it a silver press like the Ryan?
No, it was like one that he said
he didn't even have a name.
No, they were called custom carousels, I think.
But it wasn't known to anyone else. He called it that.
He wrote on it with Sharpie.
You might as well have. It was.
The training was like included, and like inks were included, and squeegees were included. So you can imagine like £1,000 for a press, squeegees, ink, training. It's not going to be particularly good. And we went up to his like little workshop in London, and we had like an hour or two sort of looking at how to print and how to like develop a screen and stuff like that. And then he was like, oh yeah, if you have like an image with gradients, then you basically open Microsoft Paint and you use like the spray paint tool. And he was like, yeah, you have to be quite artistic and stuff like that. So you have to like color it in by hand. And we were like, that's pretty extreme. I didn't know that. And that's how we started in Zig's shed in his parents' back garden. And then
What year was
so,
this?
yeah, 2006, I think. And then we'd expose screens on like probably the same as tons and tons of people, like on like a floodlight and you'd like put a big heavy bit of glass on top of the screen and print the film. And obviously your film's like terrible, so you printed it off on your like A4 inkjet printer at home. And so and then we'd like run screens down the end of the garden from like the shed, and like they'd be like exposing as you're like, you know, going down there and trying to like wash it out. And yeah, every time you like messed up a screen, it was like 20 minutes to develop another one and all that stuff.
And those in those days, was it just a hobby, or was that for like customers at that point, or what shirts were you printing?
We did do jobs for customers. Yeah.
It was the MySpace days.
It was MySpace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of like outreach to people on like MySpace and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like we started around the same time, and we were kind of in the same spaces. Like we were in MTs and doing the MySpace thing, and
yeah.
I feel like we always saw each other in like different things.
Yeah, and then we didn't have a dryer, so we'd like cure with a flash, and the flash was like an oven element in like a housing, and we'd just be like, Zig's clock in his shed like went backwards, so so we'd be like, oh, we'll just like wait like 1 minute or something with it under the flash, and then we get confused about like, has it been a minute or what? And then we'd be like, oh, we just do it until it just do it until it starts smoking, and then just take it out.
That's exactly how I was told when I first started doing the band shirts in this Jerry's garage. He had like a makeshift thing too, and you basically printed the shirt, took it off, laid it under this like heating element that he made, and that was his calculation. He was like, leave it there till it starts smoking and then it's done. And I was like, how the fuck is that a calculation? Leave it here till it's burning.
Just before it starts burning. Yeah, pretty much.
And then we sort of wondered if we were just like absolutely terrible, or whether it might possibly be that our press wasn't that good. So eventually, basically Zig's parents had to move to Saudi Arabia for his dad's work. So we didn't have access to the shed. So we were like, oh, we have to like, I don't know why we continued doing it, because it was like terrible, like conditions and stuff. And then we were like, oh, we have to find like somewhere to run out of. So we need like a double garage and like rent a house somewhere. But around where we lived was like way too expensive. So we like just typed into Rightmove like our postcode, and then like within 100 miles. And then we ended up in like Westbury in Wiltshire, which is like a small like one-horse town sort of thing. It's not a train station.
You guys were still in school at this point, or you both said fuck it and you were just screen printing?
Zig was
dropped it.
Yeah, Zig. I was just like, nah, fuck. Don't go to don't do art in college. Let's go do stuff.
I never really like went in anyway, so it was it wasn't leaving. It was just like I guess just
not going.
Not going in.
Officially not going instead of just not going.
Yeah.
Chris has a fun story. I was the same way. Like I kind of went to school for a semester, and I just blew all my money on band equipment, like my financial aid money. And it was funny. We were just like, what are we doing today? And we're oh, let's go to the movies or whatever. We literally drove by the school, and Chris was like, don't you have a final today or like an exam? And I was like, oh yeah, like whatever. And then we just like went to the movies, which was literally across the street from the theater, from the school was across the street from the theater. And it was like, here I am right next to school watching a movie while I'm supposed to be taking a test.
Yeah, that was just absolutely
it worked out
zero.
You, so it's all good.
Yeah, seriously.
There was no interest in school really.
So you found a place then?
So we found a place in Westbury with a double garage, and we got like a 10 grand loan or something, I think, like a personal loan. And then we bought Vastex. We imported some Vastex equipment because we've been on t-shirt forums or something, and there was super limited resources back then. I think it was just like t-shirt forums.
It was nothing. Yeah.
and maybe there was like one guy on YouTube. I don't know. What was YouTube even? I don't know.
It was pretty all of that. There wasn't like we had to speak directly to a lot of suppliers. I think we could have got like we were being fussy. The press that we wanted was a Vastex, and they're really like good solid presses. I'd probably if I wanted a manual, I'd grab another one.
They would.
It was before they had a distributor in the UK, so we just order it all in from them, whatever we wanted.
Seemed like it'd be really expensive.
Cheaper than buying one in the UK now.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, in the UK now they've got a distributor, so it would actually be more expensive doing it that way now. But yeah, I don't think we had I think we bought a load of stuff in bits. So I think we bought like a Vastex HD 2000 or something like that. I think it was called, and a little tiny dryer that was like 30 centimeters long or something. And I think eventually we ended up buying another Vastex. Oh, so yeah, we spent too much time when we were living at home, like playing Halo. So,
nice. Perfect.
We were like, we should probably like get a unit that isn't in our house and sort of try and focus on like actually doing work. Instead of just playing it, going, oh no shit, we got a deadline, and then just like printing it, like, you know, staying up all night and printing it like the day before.
My problem was is that we bought the shop and then we put video games in the shop. So then we would like print half the day and then play video games half the day, and customers would show up at the door and someone would be like, hey, there's someone here to see you, and I'd be like, tell them to go away, we're busy. And then like just play video games.
Those times you just described, do you have fonder memories like of that time or now? You know what I'm saying? So like, were those the days? Now's better?
Both.
Somewhere between.
I think both. The stress of learning to screen print and being too stubborn to ask for help. I don't miss that at all because it's horrible. Like, just trial and error everything. But when we first, like our first ever paycheck, which must have been like minimum wage, maybe even less, I was so like happy with that, and it was just like, oh, cool. So we don't have a boss and we just do our own thing. Even at that, even when we had like one or two manuals, I thought like, this is it. This is cool. We're done. We never really had like, let's keep going and get the auto. Let's keep going and do the next thing. It was just kind of just happy at each stage, I think.
I
don't know. It's hard to answer.
The struggle, I guess the struggles are different. Like the struggle when you had that, when you were out of the garage, it was different, and you were trying to learn things like how do I really print, you know, on this manual, and I don't know, try to increase your skills and things like that. That's a different kind of struggle. Now the struggle is something entirely different. And I asked that because sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, you know, like I would go back and do it again because those were like, I felt so alive, you know, and I didn't know what the future was. And I suppose that's a little bit true now, but now it's more like monotonous. I hate to say that, but a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you have a similar startup then? Yeah,
I started in a 2-car garage. Yeah.
You guys
like an American garage there.
Yeah, you guys have big garages.
Garage. So ours are bigger. Yeah, because we got SUVs. Is that what you're saying?
Tiny. Yeah.
Oh, and we're just fat Americans and we need more space. I get it. It's cool.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, well, a double garage to us would be like maybe one of yours, I think. So it was tight.
Bit smaller.
Like I squeezed an auto into my garage.
No, we wouldn't have been
absolutely no chance. Yeah. But we didn't even really have that good lighting in that garage. It was just like a pure brick like dungeon. Basically, it was pretty sad.
What was your guys' like clientele then? Were you going after a certain market or what was it?
MySpace. Literally, we were trying to hit up any band and trying to undercut every other printer. Just like give us some work. And at that time, sorry to all those people, but we were like, people were paying us to learn how to print. And
we all do
we
that.
didn't have too many complaints. We didn't have too many complaints.
But when we
okay.
when we first moved out of the garage and we started taking stuff actually seriously, that's when it was Monster Press, and we actually had like a decent brand and stuff, and we were really trying then.
We had a different name before that.
Yeah, so we didn't really try I don't know. I guess we did, but we didn't really start taking it like properly seriously until we got a unit and were like.
What was the name before Monster?
That's really cringe.
Roscoe. It's Will's middle name, but we spell it with a Z because it's super cool.
Nice.
Because I did a really cool design like in 2006 that was like, I just did it on Photoshop, and it was like a skull with like 2 revolvers. And
nice.
It had like stencil font on like the forehead saying like Roscoe, and that was literally all I like could think of because of that. It's really cringy. Yeah,
it's not too bad. It's really not.
Yeah,
I mean
and we had like
the skull with the revolvers is a little dated, but
yeah,
I think if you saw the quality of it, maybe I wish we still had one.
Yeah, those prints like didn't go anywhere though. What we did back then, they're like bulletproof, like fluorescent plastisol and stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you moved out and you said you started taking it more seriously and changed the name and all that other stuff, did you have a plan where you're like, I'm gonna get this machine, we're gonna do water based, we're gonna do this and this, or were you just like, let's just wing it again and see what happens?
No, it's really weird. We like grew like that. I think 50% like every year, just super organically. We didn't really like think to like at all. We were just like working in the business, really, not on it. And then I think probably when we got our second unit is when I think that we took it like super, super seriously. And that was like, our first unit was like 500 square foot or something. I think our second unit was 1250, and like a quarter of that was office and toilet. So I think that's when we started getting like a good name for ourselves, and our work was in the second unit. And we were like, actually, we were always trying to improve, but we just didn't have the knowledge or the experience skills to actually be good. But yeah, by the time we got into there, we'd worked a lot of the kinks out, and we were sort of actually printing like, actually doing decent halftones and like.
Were you all just like kind of self-taught with that, or did you do any classes or anything?
I did take Mark Coudre's halftone mastery course, which was just a series of videos, and I just took a bunch of notes. We did also have, I think we were having some problems with our screens or something, and we had a consultant come in and help us with some of that.
With like your EOM issues or something?
I can't remember. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were doing like one coat or something. He
basically approached us. And these were still like real early days. There wasn't anything online. There's not like videos, or there wasn't even like very good supply shops and stuff like that. It's kind of ring up and see what they got. And he showed us how to coat a screen properly. That was exciting. Little bits like that. At the time, it was like, okay, yeah, we have no idea what we're doing. Building a nice stencil, exposing it properly. He got us into using rollers, actually, because he was using them. So we were using rollers before we even had an auto. He helped us with a few different bits.
Yeah, Will Pearson from Phantom Screen Print. It was.
Shout out Will.
Shout out to Will. He's like one of the only other, I think one of 2 other printers in the entire of the UK at that time that was using roller frames. And yeah, he was like a massive screen print. Well, he still is. He's not dead or anything. He was like a super like screen print nerd, and he was like well into everything. So yeah, I still talk to him from time to time, and the conversations are, never less than like an hour and a half. Yeah, really interesting guy to talk to. But yeah, he helped us out a lot, and then I think that really did help our quality, and like, yeah, that was probably what helped our like halftone and simulator process and things, and we started getting more involved with stuff.
How many employees were you at that point?
Oh god, it was a nightmare. When we first had it, was just me and Zig, and then if one of us was on holiday, it was like the worst thing ever. And we were both printing, and then I'd do emails for like a couple of hours in the morning and then print, and then do emails in the evening as well. And then eventually we hired a guy from our old town who still works for us and is an amazing printer. Or did we hire Ash first?
No, Jay was. I think Jay came.
Oh yeah, Jay was first. So he was from our old town, and he's like super hard worker. Yeah, he's great. And then that's when I stepped down from printing for the most part, and just we had so much like backlog of like office stuff to do and staying up late, like doing like emails and stuff in the evenings. So we needed someone, and we were like we were always so reluctant to hire people, and like only if you're like dying of stress would you like employ someone. Right. So yeah, we hired Jay, and then a bit later we hired Ash, who we knew from like MySpace.
We printed for him. He had a brand.
Yeah, we printed for him like years before. I think in the shed days, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally.
I think he was the first guy to ask for like a big print, and we taped 2 bits of A4 film together, and it was like a 4-color print on
little step.
3-color, yeah.
I have the exact same story. Yeah, we used to do the films together, and we would tell the customers like, "Hey, we can't do it this big if it has halftones, because the halftones would never." You would see a line where you taped them together.
Yeah.
And we have actual prints that like we sent out to customers that were like that, where you could literally see this like strong line, right?
Yeah.
What is hiring like in the UK? So are there trade schools and stuff where people can learn how to screen print, or the people that you hired, did you train them? Did they ever screen printed before?
No, we haven't. We had one person out of anyone that we've hired that had experience, and that was a really bad experience. So I don't want to do that anymore in the future. I like training people, because you don't have to like battle bad habits, and they might come with good habits too. But to retrain people from different shops, especially like high volume shops where it's just a different game. It's everything speed and mess, and we're not a fast shop. We get shit done, but like we're not doing like 900 an hour and stressing over shit. I like to train people. Yeah, to try like, this is how our shop works. Works for us. If you've worked in a different shop, it works differently. And it works for that shop, cool. But I feel like it's easier to just have someone that's just passionate and has attention to detail. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
We kind of hire people based on like just, I guess, culture more than anything, and like whether you sort of like
their vibe.
Yeah, because that's kind of what we love about having a small business, and I don't think we'd ever grow like into much bigger than we are now, just because it's just a really nice atmosphere. And like, yeah, we've had it in the past where you might have people that might like upset things and throw the balance off and stuff, and it kind of like it really like impacts things. And we're just in a really, really good spot at the moment where like we've got a really solid team of and like really cool people that just like are autonomous, just get on with stuff. You don't have to be like at their back all the time. And I just love that. Like, I like having a small business, and I just like how it runs like that. Mm-hmm. I guess.
Are you guys sticklers to your employees about like quality and keeping the shop clean and all those things, because that's something that like we're kind of on people for all the time. And I don't know, it's just you visit all these different shops and you, like you said, everyone's shop's a little bit different, or they're about speed, or then the cleanliness goes down the drain and everything else.
I think the only thing that like upsets me if I feel like it's something, if something's like an honest mistake or something like that, I couldn't care less. Like it happened. It was like, I can see how some like a mistake was made or something like that. But if I feel like it was like negligence, that's when like I get a bit like upset about stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, but in terms of like cleanliness and things, we just have like a maintenance schedule and stuff that we try and stick to. And then we set up like Slack notifications that kind of just annoy the crap out of you until you check it off as done. And stuff like that. I mean, sometimes they get ignored even, if it's like a daily reminder. In like busy season, because people are just busy. But
so you have a a busy and a slow season. Like we do here.
Oh yeah. I saw you. I think I saw a little bit of a podcast that you were doing, I think last week, and you were talking about that. And I thought, January, February, same as you guys, I think. Yeah.
Are you, Ziggy, you said that you aren't always on press. Are you kind of that guy who's setting up both presses, making sure everything's good to go, and then letting the people run that press that are on it? Or
not really. Like our head printer Jay he'll put out prints as good or as maybe even better than some of the stuff that I do. So he's like always on one of the presses. And then we've got I guess a junior printer. She's still learning a lot of stuff. But we don't really like give her work that she's not,
not
just
ready for.
Like it will take too long to set up. So I'll jump between like helping both people, or just problem solving, or filling in the gaps, or prepping work that like needs, I don't know, it needs a certain ink mixed or something. And but yeah, I'll jump in and do certain jobs if people are off or lunch break. I like to attempt to have both machines moving.
When I took Bill, my production manager, up to visit Tony the other day, and we were having lunch, and one of the discussions that Bill was having to Tony was just kind of like, about employees and like, what they should be doing, or issues with employees or whatever. And one of the things that Tony had said is like, I think you're just at that point where like you should be the guy who, like, you should train the people on press that you currently have to be really, really good at loading, unloading, and maybe tearing down. And then your job should just be, because you're the one that you feel like has the best quality, has the best standards, has the, you care about what's happening all the time. Just like you be the one to set it up and improve and make sure like squeegee angle pressure, everything's set up the way it needs to be, passes, all this other stuff, and then let them run the press until the job's done. So like he's not running a press, he's just bouncing around between the three and being like every single one of them is running at like optimal, quality and speed and all that stuff.
I think during like busy season it's a bit more like that maybe. But I think in quieter periods it's a bit of that, and a bit of like, I guess, process improvements and like trying to let people sort of learn on their own a little bit to some extent, but helping them, you know what I mean? I think that might be it. Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of it too, is that like when he's setting stuff up and doing that, he's like showing them what he's doing. He's not just like, get out of the fucking way. Like, let me do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think it's like, let me set the standard of like how we're doing things and like what should be, like he's the one doing the research. Like me and him are constantly looking at things and be like, this is how we can improve. That's why I said, like, we're doing all these tests. Like we're doing it, not like the entire staff, so that when we can figure out what we want to do, we'll present it to them and like, hey, this is our findings. Like, this is what we want to do going forward. So same thing, like you said, when it gets slow or when there's that weird job, I think he's going to hop on that third auto and print it. Yep. But I think going forward is going to be more of like, he's just managing things and getting people trained really well at loading and unloading and the mechanics of the press, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I've heard a lot of bigger shops pretty much have that as well. They'll just have like, depending on the size, maybe like 1, 2, 3, like doing exactly what you said, like set jobs up and then you'll have the loaders and the unloaders. Yeah, and then maybe a third person just going around making sure everything's still working as when you set it up and stuff. I've never really seen like a go-to recipe for training, or like you said, like do you train them to do everything by themselves, or do you do this or that? And I don't know. I still don't really know the best way to do that.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that we were talking about is the fact that like Bill will run the press one way, and it's not necessarily right or wrong. It's just like, this is that he found the best performance or the best looking print or whatever. And then Zach, I have 2 Zachs that run the press. So like, they'll all have their own ways of printing. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, I think this angle and this speed is better. And then the next one says, I think this angle and speed and thinning of the ink is better and whatever. And it's like, I just feel like that creates problems because then all the prints are slightly different. And then there's also like, if this one leaves and someone steps in, it's different and weird. And it's like, that's why we're trying to be like, okay, this is the upstate way. You know what I mean? Like train everybody to be like, this is how we print white. This is how top colors are. And we're not doing 100 passes of this. We're going to do 2 or 1 or whatever. I think it's just him going around being like, this is how we do it.
Yeah, we moved. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say we moved to that pod manager setup. I think it was maybe around November last year, and which the pod manager isn't the production manager. That's a separate role. The pod manager is sort of what you just described, and we found that we are tremendously more efficient as the first thing that happens, and then as a like a byproduct of it all is that the training is way better. And so because that person that's the pod manager understands what's going on press, and we chose that person because they were a really good communicator, they're really calm, and they're a really great teacher, you know, and that's something that they wanted to do. And they were like almost a cheerleader in a way towards each press team, you know? And so I would say that it's expensive, you know, because there's times where the pod manager, we're paying them and there's some downtime, you know, and there's always not. So sometimes like we're running the same job all day and there's not a whole lot of 1, training opportunity, and 2, set up, tear down. I mean, it's just the same job, right? You're just loading and offloading. And so it seems like they do find other things to do and to talk about, and maybe they're loading inks for that press and things like that. So it's
that's why you have that third press though, because then he can run the sleeves or pockets and whatever while the other jobs are running.
That's true, and we're getting ready to run our third press. Dylan and I were talking about this before we came on, and that is it's like it's picked up here quite a bit. And so we'll turn on the third press for the year here pretty soon. But like as of right now, no, we're not doing that. And we're still just sticking to our 2 autos and a dryer and those teams right there. And we really love it, you know. And actually, I think maybe the third thing that happened was morale improved. You know, when you're on press and things are going wrong and you don't have anybody to help you, you know, or you feel like you're maybe understaffed and you have all this to do or whatever. I just think that when you have support, you know, then you have a better day. And so that's the third thing. We love it. So we're going to stick with it.
Yeah.
Sounds like sounds like a cool idea. I think that'll work.
So what's going on with you guys now? I mean, we talked about the Vaztex, and when you got going with the new company, has it kind of been autopilot since then, as far as just like slow growth every year, or is it kind of going in a new direction or anything?
I would say basically we got to the point where we outgrew that unit, that we were talking about before. And then we went into another unit that was maybe about 2,500 square foot, something like that. And then that just got so full, and we had one auto, and we kind of needed to buy a second one. So we ended up moving again to the unit that we're in now, which was quite a big step up. So I'd say, the first couple of years of being there, I guess, was like, it was like too big for us, really. But now we're at the point where we've sort of grown into it, and we're like, so we bought our second auto. We bought like a new dryer, and then we bought a like drone for the back of the dryer to extend the length, because we're doing like a lot more water based and stuff. Then we bought a spider, and we bought auto reclaim. So we had a lot of investments in like the first couple of years of being there or so. Our turnover's been like fairly similar, I guess, except for the past maybe couple of years. We're increasing every year. I guess I've got more time now to sort of be working on the business as well as in the business. I mean, like, I guess still, 30% of my time is still doing like artwork sets and things like that. And then obviously I've got loads of other bits and pieces to do, but I'm actually spending maybe 5-10% of my time like actually trying to do like marketing and trying to like move things forward. So before that, I think it was very natural growth. And then the past year or so is probably it's been more like I was going to say forced growth, but like that's not quite the right
we didn't have to advertise for such a long time.
No, I mean, like we spent like there'd be some years where we'd spend like we'd have on our balance sheet like £500 or £1,000 on like advertising. Now we still don't spend as much as we should, and to be honest, I'm still in two minds about like advertising, whether obviously
whether it's worth it or not.
I mean, I've been trying to get my head around like Google AdWords and stuff like that, but I just feel like you
can't keep up with it. Like, I feel it changes all the time, and the way they do things and everything. It's like when they started doing Facebook ads and Instagram and all this other stuff, it was simpler. And now it's like, okay, you just pay money to be in more people's faces. And now it's like, oh, you need to, everything's like changes so fast. And like, oh, the 2023 way to do things is totally the opposite of what 2022 was. And it's like, what the fuck? I just figured out 2022 and here it is 3 months into 23. And it's like, you gotta start all over again. It's stupid. And I understand what you're saying about the forced growth thing, because that's exactly where I'm at. Is like, we were on autopilot for the last fucking 12, 14 years or whatever. And we just had inbound. Like, all of my salespeople, customer service people, they're all just used to getting emails every day and inbound and like just doing their thing. And then now it's to the point where just everything is where it is, and the production's really good and the staffing's really good. But it's kind of just like, it's not stale, but it's like, we're just sitting here like floating and like growing every year, but it's like gently and all this other stuff. And I'm kind of like, we can print way more than we're printing. Not that I want them to be out there fucking crushing all day long, but it's like, maybe I should utilize like outbound a little bit, like go try to get new stuff again. Like, I feel like we haven't tried to do that. And since we were like, MySpace and early Facebook days where we were just hitting everybody up being like, hey, we want to print for you. Now I'm kind of being like, hey, you guys need to be trained on outbound. Because we don't do any.
But back in the day, you probably had the fact that you were cheap, and now you're probably like not. We
don't want to be cheap though.
Same here. I mean, we have one price list, and that's it. We don't have any contract work. Everyone pays up front.
Same.
And that's just how we run. And like, so it's like, it's kind of hard.
we're also at
It's-
that point too, like both of us, like, we could be like, we could sell ourselves on quality. I feel like we put the time in, the training in, got where we are. So that's like our outbound strategy is like, let's hit up the clients that we want to work with, not necessarily who will just pay our bills. That's and exactly we're trying to put together like really nice sample boxes and like really good direct things to them. Like, hey, let us take you to dinner and like give you things and show you options that you can do. Like, how can we help you? Not like, how can we get your money? You know what I mean? It's like, we really want to work with companies like you. We just really like who you are. Let us work together. Not like, how can I get your business because I just want to add another job to the schedule.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we're trying to like take a more targeted approach. We are taking a targeted approach at like outreach and stuff like that. There's like a very specific kind of size and like kind of type of company that we want to work with. And it comes down to like someone who shares like the same sort of values and really cares about that sort of stuff. Because otherwise you just go to anyone. And I think I've only ever done like an outbound like sales sort of trip once, and it was actually really good. And it was a local company that built like custom Land Rovers, like really spenny ones. And I went and talked to their like designers and marketing people, and it was really cool. I just bought like a big box of like shirts and like random samples and stuff, and and like some prints and stuff that we'd done. And then they were like, oh, can you critique our print that I had before? And I was like, oh god. It wasn't that great.
Tearing somebody else apart. I
was like, oh, it's fine. I wasn't like a complete
I think when I walk into stuff like that, a lot of times it's like, I don't want to be like, oh, the last guy you're using or whatever is dog shit. We're going to be way better. It's usually, and this is kind of the conversation we had with Johnny last week, is like, I walked up to his table and was having a conversation, and I was like, hey, you print this cupcake and crossbones logo on everything. Like that's a one color, like whatever. And the way he's done it for years, it's just this like double plastisol white print, like huge on the front of a shirt. And I wasn't trying to be like, hey, I'm going to print this better. I was just like, why have you never done this in just like white discharge? You know what I mean? Like the shirt would feel better. It would breathe better, all this other stuff. Like I'm not trying to necessarily get his business, but it was a legit question. And the other thing too is,
Dylan, the truth is you went up and you said, hey, Tiny Fish sucks. And I can do
pre-Tiny Fish.
I can do a way better job.
So Johnny came to me, and then I said it wasn't going to work because he wanted to do all this fulfillment, and then Tony took him from me instead. But the thing is I asked him too. I'm like, also too, like, why don't you have your own print shop at this point? Like, you've been around for so long, you're doing these prints, like you could do this. You could invest in your own shop and all this other stuff. I wasn't going to him to be like, I just want to do your work. We were legit having a conversation of like peer to peer of like, how can I, with my knowledge of whatever I know, help improve your company or your marketing or whatever. So that's how I approach all these other people, is like, I don't want to just take what you're doing somewhere else. I want to do something different and be like, why are you not offering this? And did you know that this kind of apparel exists or this kind of printing exists? Because most people don't. They just are like, give me your logo, and then they just print it however that shop prints it. They don't ever give them options of like, oh, we could do water based or discharge or plastisol or, metallics or anything. They're just like, give me your logo, I'll print it. I just want to walk in and be like, how can we make it better?
Sometimes a customer doesn't need a better product; they just need better service. And so sometimes it's not just a product. You guys worked with Johnny Cupcakes, didn't you? Didn't he said in the comments that you did some sort of pop-up shop with him?
He. I think Craig Robson, illustrator in the UK, pointed in my direction. I think he's a tattoo artist now, actually. But he just approached us and said, I'm doing a pop-up shop in London. Can you print our stuff? And I was like, yeah, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, it was,
We were
yeah,
like, oh yeah, that's not a big deal. We haven't been following you for 10 years. We're not like obsessed with your brand. Like, yeah, we'll do it, man. No,
yeah, here's a quote.
Play it cool.
I guess.
No, we were so excited.
Yeah, we were excited about it for sure. Yeah. And yeah, we were like, oh, do you want a discharge? Do you want this? Do you want that? And yeah, so yeah.
And then you're nervous about giving it to them too, because you're like, I want to make sure this is just right.
Yeah. They did look good.
Those customers are good and bad just because of that. You know what I mean? You're excited to work with them, and then you're also like, fuck, what if I fuck this up? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially because he was. I mean, he's super up to date with screen printing and how it should and shouldn't look, and those kind of different things. So
yeah. We were a bit nervous about the neck tags, I think, because we printed them in. I think he wanted them in white plastisol.
Showing through.
Yeah, but they look good. It was fine.
You did good.
I think they're on AA or something. Yeah, kind of thing.
There's a few other listener questions. Dylan, you want to do them? I have one pulled up.
Yeah, I have a couple. There was a couple that stood out to me. Print Poppy said, "Is it true that you have abandoned CTS and want to go back to film?"
Oh, that's no, we haven't. We still have a CTS. We still have a Spider 2. It's probably the only bit of equipment that I wouldn't buy again. We haven't had much fun with it. Like when it works, it's okay, but it's been so problematic. It's caused me so much stress, so much downtime, cost us a lot of money, and like, you know, lost days that we can't print, can't make screens, and
so it's not that you want to go back to film, it's just you're frustrated with the machine that you have.
Yeah, so even when we first made the transition, we were getting better results with film because we had films so dialed. We've been doing it for however long.
Right.
And then we got to the point where like they're similar enough, that's cool. And maybe for a year or two it was faultless, but when it started having problems, it just seemed non-stop. Like I've heard similar stories from other people, but then other shops, you know, it works for them, and I don't want to shit on the brand because they're doing their thing too. But it's more like, where else do you go? Because you can get an inkjet for $2,000, which, you know, you replace it every year or two, or you can get a CTS for 50, and it's going to give you similar results, but it's more expensive to run. They want 4K just for like maintenance, because, you know, a year, just because they know it's going to like shit will happen. And we're kind of just waiting out to see what's going to come out next that we can use.
Get the laser.
Maybe, yeah. If it becomes, there's not really any available in the UK at the moment that I'm interested in, but maybe in the future, we'll see.
Okay.
It has been trouble-free since they last fixed it.
You better fucking knock on wood right now.
Good.
Yeah. I can't go in. The amount of stress it's caused me, like it's probably ongoing for a year, like every month or two. It's just like, oh, it's broken again. Oh, it's broken again. And all the engineers we've had out, they've all been such like solid dudes. They're trying to like, it's not for lack of like people trying to fix it. It was just there's so many variables that it might be this, it could be that. Okay, we change that. That's caused another problem. Okay, like they're trying to like fight the machine.
Every once in a while, there's a dud.
Yeah, it could be that.
I asked them. I was just like, 100%. Have we got a bad machine? Are we unlucky? Like, we look after it. It's got its own room. We're like so up to date with maintenance and that kind of stuff. So
it's still on the original head from like 5 years ago, and most people are changing them out like at least once a year.
Do you talk nice to it? Give it some love? Ever?
Yeah, honestly, that could be the problem.
Every time you walk in the machine, you talk dirty to it. You're like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you better work today, man. We're busy. Like,
Zig is like an incredibly like patient person as well. So for him to sort of like eventually lose his rag and it's just be like, fuck this machine. It's like, yeah, it has to be like poke for a very long time for that to happen. So yeah, there was genuinely a lot of issues. Yeah. And then you'd fix it and it would be all right for like a week. And then there'd be like another issue or the same issue. And it's just like, oh my God.
I've also
the worst.
I've also got to say, like, one of my favorite shows from my childhood that I still like is Quantum Leap. And every time I hear you say Ziggy, I automatically think of that show because of the supercomputer that he had that like told him where to go back in time and everything was called Ziggy. So like every time you say it, I'm just like, God damn,
it's me.
It's just you. You're the
Ziggy
supercomputer,
Stardust, isn't it?
Right.
Your parents kind of hippies. Was it Bowie?
I don't think there was any like influence. They just thought, oh, okay, Ziggy's my middle name, so my name is Peter Ziggy Hill, and they at the time probably thought this is a cool name, but let's do it in the middle. Yeah, and then I have zero memory of ever being called Peter. They just ran with it. So
yeah,
they're weird. Yeah.
That's cool. Another question was, what made you want to choose MHM?
We actually had a Sportsman. That was our first auto, and I just didn't get on with it. It wasn't for us. MHM sort of dominates in the UK anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It just seems like it's kind of a go-to service over there.
Yeah, I think originally we went. I can't remember exactly how we chose, but the price probably led us that way too. M&R are cheaper. It was our first auto. We're in a tiny unit. And for like our first press, it was great. We were still doing like good work, and it was a good entry level press for us. But yeah, I used to struggle with them, and again, I don't want to piss on people's companies, but it didn't work. It didn't work for us. The newer machines look great, to be honest. The same as all the machines are starting to look the same, I think. And I'd buy some of the newer M&R. It's just that because we are running MHM now, that I don't want to mix up the shop.
Yeah, I just think it boils down to that service thing. Like they're bigger over there, they're easier to get parts, easier to get serviced, everything like that. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think we had a much better relationship with Dave as well, who was the M&R rep. I think that was one of the deciding things. And I think maybe part of the reason why we didn't get on with it is because we were using round bar like Newman rollers,
right? And
the clamps are square. I don't know, is this right or not?
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with it? Am I talking
kind of? No, it was one of the issues that I like things that are user friendly. At MHM, they just have set angles, set bars. It's smooth. It's like we'd get consistent results. I found myself like too scared to use micro reg sometimes because you'd pop the back clamp, move it, and it might go in, it might go out, kind of thing. I don't know. It was it wasn't for me.
Right.
That machine.
Makes sense.
I think it's easier to control the variables on an MHM, right? Because I think even the foot-pounds of pressure or something was like a bit all over the place. Like sometimes it would put more pressure down than others, even though it was the same setting. And
adjusting like barrels on both sides and stuff. MHM is it's up and down, and it's easier to teach people like those kinds. It usually comes down to just user-friendly, teaching people as well. Right. You can run amazing work. There's people throwing out amazing work. There's great printers on all different types of presses, but I want something that's like repeatable and quick.
Yeah. What works for you? Yeah. Andy, you had a AI generated question?
I do. Yeah. I think maybe even two. So yeah, we typed in a question to chat.openai and a robot spit out a question for you guys. First one is, what is trending in the UK at the moment?
I'm the last person to ask that. Well, what's cool?
I don't know. I'm like really bad at social media and stuff now. I don't think I'd even have an Instagram or a Facebook if I didn't have a business. So I'm basically out of the loop.
What's trending? What's trending at the shop? Apparel wise or design wise?
Oh, okay.
These like big shirts. These big like square
streetwear.
Streetwear. Yeah, they got like
possible
thick, tight necks, square like drop shoulder.
Yeah. Seen a lot of that.
So yeah, that's coming in quite a lot.
A lot of these companies now are realizing that trend, and they're making like extra thick collars and extra boxy tees.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
It's gross.
It used to all be slim fit
for years.
Yeah, and when we first started, it was all like fluorescent ink, and now nobody does that. And like I think it was youth large t-shirts, and like fluorescent like ink.
And as big as possible. Prints
as
big as possible.
As big as possible.
Over the bottom.
Yeah, we used to love it. Yeah, we were like, we need to be able to print as big as possible. Like,
that's why every press I bought was we were just doing oversized everything.
Yeah, some customers love it. I mean, we personally, our personal taste, we a bit more like refined these days and go for smaller prints and stuff, and like for our own brands and stuff.
Well, there was a trend there for the last couple of years where bands and everybody were doing a left chest and a back. It was like everyone wanted that contractor style print. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's trending where you guys are?
Yeah.
It was Puff. Puff was big for I think it's on its way. It feels like it's on its way out a little bit, but
right.
I don't know.
We just posted one like yesterday or something.
Puff,
I think it's a bit of the
I've
same.
seen them. Okay. We've seen Puff floating around. We've seen Puff floating around a bit more. I've just never really bothered with it. It used to be like maybe 1-2 requests a year, so I was like, I don't care. Send them somewhere else. But I kind of did some trials and stuff recently. I was like, we can do it now.
I feel like we're getting maybe a couple of requests for Puff a week at this point, which again, we never used to at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I was stoked when we started working with Howard for transfers. Now they have Puff transfers. So like single colors, I could just order 100 Puff transfers and never have to worry about if the temperature of the dryer is just right, or if I have enough Puff, or if it's going to cave in on itself. It's just like, fuck it, transfer them all.
Especially mixing too much Puff and then it sits on the shelf for 2 years or something, That's no fun.
Does it affect the shelf life of the ink long term, or is it just?
I don't think so. It's just that, maybe somebody doesn't order that color again and then it just sits there, in Puff, that is, Second robot question. It's a two-parter. So how do you stay motivated and productive, especially during times of stress and uncertainty? And do you take on too much stress sometimes?
The computers want to know how to stress you out, basically.
Yeah. They're trying to dig into us.
Should we answer it separately? So, do you want to go first?
Yeah. How do I deal with stress?
Naps.
I nap. I'm a napper. Get high in the evenings, not at work.
Good answer.
How do I stay motivated? Your podcast is great, honestly.
Hey, thanks.
Seeing, being connected with people that are doing all the same stuff and realizing like every shop's the same. We're not that different. Everyone's thinks they got shit figured out, but we don't. it's still
100%.
It's still stressful. It's a stressful environment sometimes. Staying up to date. Like when we flew out to LA, it super wasn't necessary, like financially and stuff like that. But
fun as fuck though.
Yeah, and like seeing new machinery, like what's up to date, bumping into people, talking to them, and those kinds of things. Yeah. or even just trying out new inks, or like you said, messing around with different halftones and stuff. The customer might not really care, but it's fun for us.
But we care, yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
interesting to see like how we can push different parameters within the company, I guess. For me anyway.
Yeah.
Well.
Just never being fully satisfied with anything is basically my character trait. So I'm always like looking to improve things and like improve processes, improve like everything basically. My personal life, I'm not like that at all, but like I'm just like super, whatever. But at work for some reason, I'm just always seem to be motivated and always have something that I can be working on. Or it definitely helps having like having like a to-do list, and like I'm like a bit of a freak, and I like literally time everything that I do and write it down and then archive it like daily, so I can like keep track of what I'm spending time on and what I'm each day and things like that. So it's a bit of that, like it's like just I like the past couple of years I've been trying to like set actual goals and trying to reach goals, and because I find in my personal life as well, if I have like some sort of goal that I need to work towards, then it really helps keep me stay on track. Helps me stay on track. So just always trying to improve, I guess.
I think that writing down the times thing is interesting. So basically I guess it's a bit like journaling throughout the day. And then once you have that, if you have every day, basically like an activity log or a journal, you go back and look at it and say, hey, wait, I spent too much time on this. I need to find like a better solution for this or that. Is that how you use it, or what? Why,
Yeah. So if I was like spending, too much time doing artwork steps or something, I might be like, oh, maybe I should be, maybe I'm spending time on tasks that I could be delegating to someone else.
I was going to say you could know when to hire at that point too.
Yeah. And then it's also like personal. Some of it's just personal responsibility as well. So I'm holding myself like accountable, basically, so I can sort of check in on myself and be like, what am I doing? And sometimes, you have those days where you're like, you've been working all day, but you're like, what have I done? Do you ever have that? All
the time.
Every
day of my life that's how it is.
Literally, it's even that. Like, one of the main reasons, not for like recording time spent and stuff, but I just basically have the worst like working memory. I'm like a goldfish, so like I have to write things down. And then also it's like a stress relieving sort of thing. Like I don't have things like going round and round in my head, like, oh, I'll have to remember to do that. Oh shit, right. I forgot to do that. It's like I guess it's like offloading it from my like mental worries, and then once it's on there,
that's why I have like the notes app on my phone. It's just anytime I think of anything or I email myself, I'm just like, oh, remember to do this, and then when it's in your email too, it's a checklist every day of like it's already here, it's here for me to do.
I'll stop what I'm doing, like right then and do it. Because if I say, if I put it off for 5 minutes, then I'm on to something else and I've already forgot,
Definitely. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I used to run into the problem of like being like, oh crap, I need to do that. And I'll get around to doing that and then try and rely on my own like brain to, like remember.
Our brains are shit. Our brains are mush.
Yes.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. So now, it's just the best thing ever. Yeah.
You ready for something?
I was just going to say something I noticed about taking on too much stress. I would say years ago, I definitely did. And it sort of changed my perspective, or actually even maybe my motivation even of that day. And when I took on too much, and maybe I had too big of a team and I had too many orders coming through here, I think that's fun maybe for a day or whatever, if you have a busy week even. But after sustainably, it's not really. It takes a toll like on me mentally. And so I noticed that I was caring about the wrong thing at my shop. Like instead of caring about my quality or maybe the culture or my team, you know what I mean? I cared about, hey, I got to get this fucking job out the door and I got to pay these bills and all that sort of stuff. And I was rushing it, and it was, I turned into something and someone who I didn't even really want to be. And so I had to like retrain my brain, honestly, to like step back and say, wait, you know, like I don't need to keep going so hard. I can take my foot off the gas a little bit and still have a successful company, but yet be way less stressed and be happier. You know what I'm saying? So
I had a very, very similar experience.
Really?
I had like an arrhythmia and stuff like that, and I didn't know about it for like ages. So I like was very sensitive to like stress for a while. I think that was potentially caused by like stress and stuff as well. After that and stuff, I kind of like just tried to limit my exposure, I guess, to like being overstressed. I was very sensitive about it. So I'm not hard on like as hard on myself and stuff as I used to be, and not as like not like, I don't know, just letting stuff go like more, and not being like uptight and like caring, like being too much of a perfectionist and too like taking on too much of that sort of stuff. Now we like, I think this year we've probably done overtime like maybe once, it was like 4 hours. We just try and schedule stuff between like working hours, and then if it runs over, then say like more than a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, then we might consider doing overtime and stuff. But and I try and like not work when I'm not at work, and you know,
taking some time for yourself.
Like 100%. Yeah, trying to get that work.
That's why I started walking.
Like better.
Yeah,
I cycle. Yeah,
it's good to just get out by yourself.
Balance.
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance is super important. We definitely did the years of I've maybe it was just a time in our lives too. It just felt like it was always like you're never up to date, and you're just stressed, and you're like trying to push everything. And even I've always been pretty bad at like asking for help or delegating tasks and stuff like that. So I'll be like, I'm doing everything. And then,
same.
Trying to, I'm still learning, that kind of stuff. Like, other people can help out too. That's why I'm paying them.
I just feel like it's one of those things, like when you're a kid and your parents tell you, like, this is how this is. This is, trust me, when you're older, you're going to understand. Like, I feel those things all the time now. You know what I mean? It's just like you just said, like, I was always that person. Like this year and last year for me were like life changing as far as like real life stuff of like, I always thought like depression and anxiety and all these things were just kind of like, oh, that's made up. You're just lazy. Like fucking, get back to work and like all this. And like me and Andy, even on the show, like we've been doing this now for a couple of years, and it's like I always used to be like, oh, work-life balance. What the fuck is that? Like, like I don't have that at all. Like you can literally hear me say it in many episodes. Like that's not a fucking thing. Like
heard you say
just get back to work. But that's what I'm saying is like within the last year or two, I've been like, oh yeah, no, this is real. This is a real thing. I need to pay attention to it. And then I was like work-life balance and the, taking the time to like the walking thing and all that. It was like, I just started doing that, and I started realizing like, oh my God, it's so beneficial to me mentally and physically and all this stuff to just like get the fuck away from everybody, go for a walk for an hour and a half in the morning, walk for another hour and a half at night. And it's like, it's just my own thing. Like I have headphones in, it's just nobody's around me, and I'm like breathing fresh air. And now I'm just like, I'm legit putting it into a routine of like every day of like, I need to do something that's by myself or just away or walking or whatever. And now I'm like, it's that thing too, where I wish I could go back and tell myself like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, how about you just do these things and like, you'll feel better. And it's like, I just think it's one of those things you don't know till you know, you know what I mean? You won't, you're going to be like, I don't believe you.
you can spot the sort of warning signs and stuff once you've been through it, and you're like looking back at it. But yeah, when you're in it at the time, it's kind of hard.
Well, and it's also, I think it's hard
in hindsight, I guess.
It's hard to make that transition because, you know, when you're a startup, well, then you have to have like pedal to the metal, and otherwise you're not gonna make it. You know, like it's really fucking hard to start a business, and so you're trained your brain to like work 24/7. Doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna make it, and then all of a sudden you're there and everything's working and it's fine, and then you have to be okay with, you know, chilling a little more, and that's hard.
You run yourself ragged, and you're like, oh yeah, there is other things to do, and there's hobbies I should have other than screen printing. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for us to say too. It's like we do the show and all our shop and everything.
One of the things that I still think about work in my free time more than probably anything else. But I try to enjoy my time off, you know, and do stuff.
I can't say too, like I totally shut it off either, because I might be on a walk, but I might do a phone call, or I'll see something on Instagram that inspires me about work, and it's just like you're still always thinking about it. It's what you're passionate about, but it's still your own time. You know what I mean?
It's like an obsession, really. Having a business, and I think that's kind of how you stay motivated, because you really care and you.
Right. All right, Andy, quick takes.
Okay, you ready? Quick takes. You can both answer them too. So first, we have night in or night out.
In for sure. I think my night outs you look like night in. So there's like there's a really nice cocktail place near us.
Oh, okay.
And it's like they'll only let enough people in for the seats, and it's super chill, and it kind of looks like you're still in. So I'm spending money in someone else's house, kind of. Yeah. So both.
Nice.
But in. Yeah.
Night in, but I do like going out, but I'm at that age and stuff now where it's like I like going out for like a meal, and I have like a couple of drinks, and then I'll go home to bed by like 10. So perfect. Yeah.
Sounds wonderful. Favorite snacks?
I've got a weird relationship with food. I like I don't really care about it very much. It seems to be in the way between me and doing something.
That sounds awful.
I know one in existence.
It is. It's weird. But I'm also like an opportunist. So when there's food, like I'll go at it, like and stock up, and then I'm done.
He's like his food is sort of like taking a piss. You know, like hey, I hate.
Yeah.
Got to go take this piss. It's getting in the way of stuff. You know?
I've been holding on to it for ages, and then I see the fridge, and I'm just like, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't really know. That's a sad answer. I'm sorry.
What was it? Favorite snack?
Yeah.
I guess sweet. I'm quite enjoying a Kinder Bueno at the moment. I don't know if you have
Good
those.
Stuff. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And savory snack. We're quite into like beef hula hoops at the moment. I don't know why, but yeah.
The fuck is a beef hula hoop?
Actually, I have some here. My girlfriend bought some back. She's like, "You need to be strong for the podcast," but I haven't eaten it. But yeah, beef hula hoops.
What the hell?
They're big. You can put them on your finger.
Is it amazing? Is it actually
is it like
meat?
jerky?
No, they're like crisps or chips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Beef flavored chips.
Yeah, barbecue beef.
All right, that's cool. That sounds good
as well.
All right.
There we go. Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy.
Do you have these in the US? Yorkie raisin and something.
Sounds familiar. I don't think so. Though.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're good too.
You definitely have Dr. Pepper. I saw you drinking that earlier.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't drink coffee, so I'm just like a diet soda person. Like I get my caffeine from like Cokes and stuff. So I'm basically addicted to sweeteners, essentially.
Right.
Oh, that's going to probably ruin this next question then, and which is when is tea time?
It's between like 6 and 10.
It's between when I wake up and when I go to bed.
Yeah. It's very vague. Within that time limit, something will happen. Well,
something we haven't touched on. We do 10-hour days, 4-day weeks. So I don't get home till about 6. So it just depends how long it takes me to cook dinner, but probably 7. I don't like eating later than 8 o'clock.
So you do
like it. I'm a very sensitive boy. I feel like it interferes with my sleep if I eat too late. I'm such a
So you do a tea.
Yeah.
You do a tea before bed, is what you're saying, like a sleepy tea or something?
Oh no, I don't eat later than 8. So yeah, I try not to. So yeah, 7ish, probably 7:30.
Let's see here. Something that random that brings you joy. Will's like, I don't know. I sit up. I don't eat. I stare at the wall. I go to work. I lay back down.
I think recently Robins, the bird. I don't know. I'm assuming they exist in America.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Just seeing those out. If I'm like taking my dog for a walk or something, I'm like, you're cool. I like
big fat bird.
Yeah. They seem pretty friendly here, and they're always by themselves. And I don't know,
picking up
Robins.
worms.
Yeah.
Well,
I got one to eat out of my hand, so I think that sealed the bond.
Perfect.
I don't really know about random, but something that never fails to bring me joy are dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah, dogs. Yeah, they're probably the best things in the world.
Warms your heart.
Yeah. Whenever I see a dog, can't help but. Yeah.
Ziggy, you had a dog a second ago, didn't you? Like on your lap or something?
Yep, she's gone. She's one of the shop dogs, little mushroom, the Chihuahua. There's one.
I have a dog.
He looks
She's
old.
really old. She's 15, 15 and a half. Oh, thank you. Get out of here.
She goes to work with you?
Yeah.
She's the original shop dog, yeah.
Yeah, she's been around forever, since I was like 20. So,
Dang.
yeah.
It's a good dog.
Next we have favorite childhood memory.
Starting a screen printing shop and
jump in, Will, if you can. I'm searching. I'm digging through some old boxes.
Do I have any good childhood memory?
Yeah.
I guess my young adult life, like teens, was always fun. Like, just hanging out, like spending all my time like hanging out in like parks in the woods and stuff like that. That was awesome. Riding my bike. So we used to like do dirt jumps and stuff in the woods. So we'd build like dirt jumps and I'd hang out with my mates there. So that was probably the best childhood memories. Yeah.
You could spend all day building little jumps, like the entire day long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think probably something quite similar, like building dens in the woods, hanging out with your friend, like thinking you're a king because you like just did something cool. Stuff like that. Building like a tree house or
like childhood innocence where you have no stress at all. You're in the woods just building shit.
Yeah. That's like the first thing you think about when you wake up is like, I'm gonna build the shit out of that.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome, man. Like being a kid back. Yeah, I can't imagine how.
You have zero bills to pay. Food is just given to you.
Yeah.
Like,
and you didn't have social media. You didn't have like any like iPads or anything. Like, I don't think people even had phones till I was like 16 or something.
Well,
People
it's like
started
my
getting-
parents. It's like they didn't know if I existed or was dead or alive or anything until it got dark and
Just
you
gone.
just showed back up.
Yeah, it's wicked. Yeah.
I
The
couldn't imagine
irony-
just telling my kids, be like, "See ya," and then like I don't see them until like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may or may not come back.
Right. You just never know.
Yeah.
The irony is that at certain point, at some point, you want to grow up and you don't want to be a kid anymore, and you're like, oh, I wish I was older or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's like, hey, I don't know, maybe I'd go back to being a kid.
It's the same thing I
Oh,
was
there's
talking about.
perks to both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of fine. Yeah.
We experienced it all. We're still good.
Yeah.
Anything you guys are reading, listening to, or watching right now that you really like?
Shirt show.
Other than that, garbage.
That's I'll just throw it in there. I get like little ticks ish sometimes, and that's one of them at the moment. Just saying shirt show. Like I'll like just pick up my cat and be like shirt show.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought you might like that. I forgot the question now.
Yeah, same.
Anything you're reading or watching that you like right now?
I've started watching all the old versions of Wife Swap.
Not in a million years. I could put money on that. I would never have expected you to say Wife Swap.
It's so funny. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not even embarrassed. It's hilarious.
It is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm digging up the old ones from like the early 2000s. And,
Going back
Bootlegs.
through the archive.
yeah.
Will?
I'm still listening to Traction. I think I bought the book about 3 years ago, and then I was like, "Who am I kidding? I'm never going to read this book." So I bought the audio book,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I've just been listening. I don't want to listen to it in the evenings because my brain will just be on fire with like too much stimulation, and then I'll just won't. Yeah. So I've been listening to it here and there at work, and I've been working my way through it. It's like one of those books that you listen to for like 5 minutes and then you write for like an hour. That's kind of what I've been doing. I don't really read. I'm not particularly good at reading or listening. So I'm like a very visual person. Watching. I watch like crap while I eat my dinner. So sometimes it's like, for some reason, I just watch like people eat while I eat. So like Good Mythical Morning or something like with Rhett and Link. For some reason, I'm just watching that because I don't want to watch something that I actually have to pay any kind of attention to while I'm eating. Or like Kitchen Nightmares, just see Gordon Ramsay yelling at some people or something. But in terms of actual things that aren't just rubbish that I watch while I eat, I like documentaries like serial killer shit and stuff like that, dark stuff.
You just like to watch. You guys like to watch shows where people just get yelled at or murdered.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
I'm a bit of a gamer though, to be honest. I spend I unwind by shooting people in the face or trying
Nice.
to.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
What are you playing? Are you playing like Xbox or PlayStation?
During
Or
lockdown
PC?
and stuff, I made the transition to PC. I'm just playing this game called Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov. It's like really stressful, so it's not the best game to unwind to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you guys like the stressful stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, finish her off.
What is for Din Din?
I haven't even thought about it. No,
Well, you
I
don't
have no
eat.
idea.
We know now that you just don't give a shit.
It's not even on my radar.
Zig once said to me that he wishes basically that he was a dog and he just had sort of like the same meal that had exactly the right amount of nutrients every day and he'd just eat the same thing. I was like, that is so sad.
You could probably work that out, just
the Huel does exist, and there's certain things. I hate the stress of like attempting to be healthy, or like, what am I eating? What am I not eating? And I don't know. It's never been a thing for me.
That's so weird. It's like the opposite
I
for
know,
me. I
it's
like
weird.
look forward to what to eat.
It's like one of the few like actual pleasures in life is food, isn't it? I had some fruit and fiber before I came on, so I didn't have time to do anything.
Well, we know that you're going to have what, big
we're
beef
useless
rounds or
and we
whatever
were-
the hell they're called.
Hula hoops.
Beef hula hoops.
I'll probably.
Open them up.
Well, it is after 8 though, so who knows? I might not eat anything, but
Just
that
filter
mainly
feed off the
applies
air.
to sugar, to be honest. Like, I try not to eat sugar afterwards.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I think my girlfriend ordered a Domino's or something while we were recording.
Sounds really
Uh,
good right now. I'm hungry. All
Maybe
right.
I'll order something in. I don't know. Yeah. See how hungry I feel after.
Well, we appreciate you guys doing this with us. I know it's kind of
Thank
time
you for
difference
having
and
us.
challenging, but we really wanted to have you on, and it was awesome meeting you guys in Long Beach. And thanks again. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we could basically talk about screen printing all day, every day.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, a complete screen printing bore. So, if you ever want to do it again, we're happy to do
Always.
that as well.
Yeah. We'll do it off the show, on the show, whatever. We'll just talk printing.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
wicked. Yeah. There's not a huge culture of that in the UK, actually. Of
Weird.
like printers talking to each other. But
Do they have cool shows over there or no?
Mm-mm.
No conventions
No.
or anything?
There's
Oh,
printwear.
It's okay. We
It's like Vespa or whatever, right?
Vespa's good. I like Vespa. There's one called ITMA that we've never been to. That's all like Europe-based stuff.
We
I
actually
think
won a
Printman
Vespa
Promotions
award
Nice.
next weekend. Yeah.
for print, but we got a silver. But still, hey,
Hey, you're an award-winning screen printing shop.
yeah.
So,
But we do have one entered this year, which I shouldn't have said in case we don't get an award for it. But we'll see.
But you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna go
You
find
too,
something to
man.
eat now that I'm starving.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much
Thank you
for having
guys
us.
very much.
Later,
No
guys.
worries,
We'll see you
Thanks,
later.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
No worries.
Bye.
Take
Later.
it easy.